The Trump administration moves to cut some immigrant families off from Head Start and health care. The city of Denver's big spending plan does a faceplant in its public debut.
Why aren't we listening to the people?
That ridiculously large IKEA sign along I-25 got humbled by Mother Nature. We have the video.
Got completely blown off by a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust.
And a stretch of Colorado, known for its uniqueness, prepares for a celebration as it faces a unique challenge. That's tonight on Next. There are Coloradans who could lose access to health care and Head Start for their kids as the Trump administration moves to redefine a decades-old definition of public benefits to cut off access to immigrants who are here without legal status. Today, the Department of Health and Human Services announced it was rescinding a 30-year-old federal guideline that allowed immigrants to access some programs that are not considered to be federal public benefits. HHS says they're reclassifying a long list of HHS-funded health and education programs as federal benefits. Things like federally funded Head Start preschool. Head Start also provides family support services like food assistance, health screenings, and early childhood development programs. The head of Colorado's Head Start Association says without that program, those students will fall behind when they go to school, and working parents could be unable to access childcare.
A lot of these families specifically that this notice is targeting work in our meatpacking plants or our agricultural areas. They work long hours. They need childcare. The majority of our parents are either working or in school. And then we don't know if that will allow them to be in the workplace anymore.
Under the new rules, Head Start would only be available for American citizens and qualified immigrants like lawful permanent residents and people who have been granted asylum. HHS estimates that removing the other immigrant families from Head Start preschool could free up more than $300 million a year. A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from enforcing its executive order ending birthright citizenship. The Trump administration has been challenging the constitutional principle that people born in the U.S. are citizens regardless of their parents' immigration status. That effort was held up in court for months until the Supreme Court limited the power of district court judges to intervene. A judge in New Hampshire has now found a workaround, certifying a class action lawsuit against the Trump administration. It covers all children born after February 20th who might be impacted by Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship. That class action certification won't take effect for a week in order to give the Trump administration time to appeal. Black Canyon of Gunnison National Park is closed and evacuated right now. There were lightning strikes that caused 2 fires there this morning. All staff and visitors were moved out. It's not clear when people will be able to return. That park's along Highway 50 between Gunnison and Montrose. Corey Reppenhagen for My Money, the most beautiful national park in Colorado, and also one of the quietest to visit. But right now, they've got a situation on their hands.
Yeah, 100% accurate on both of those, Black Canyon National Park. Now, that wildfire, we don't know what caused it at this moment, but we have had dry lightning, which has been an issue across the high country recently, and it will continue over the next 7 days. Dry lightning is when a thunderstorm puts down less than 1/10 of an inch of rain and ground strikes. So that'll be something to watch for as we go through the next several days, actually. We have an outflow boundary coming into the Denver metro. You can kind of see it right there. But our air is so dry in here, it probably won't result in anything measurable here in the Denver area. We've got the storms out here on the eastern plains. This storm coming on towards the I-76 corridor towards Fort Morgan does not have a warning on it at this moment. No large hail being reported, but we do have a pretty strong storm going out there in Yuma County. The severe thunderstorm watch for the eastern plains goes until 9 o'clock tonight, and that's where you'll likely see these storms dissipate after 9 o'clock. Temperatures tomorrow, we will have a few storms in our area once again along the Front Range. Temperatures may be below 90 degrees tomorrow. That's a little bit of a break, but not really the break I'm looking for just yet. But I do see that coming on the 7-day forecast. It's right here in the middle of next week. We'll have a couple of hot days here Sunday and Monday, but this long-range models are kind of advertising a decent trough of low pressure coming next week. Not a slam dunk, but at this point, it looks like we could have highs in the 70s.
The city of Denver is about to ask voters to approve $800 to $900 million in borrowing. Now, the way that this works is they like to put projects in just about every neighborhood so that everybody hypothetically has something to like and to vote yes for. If the bond plans debut before City Council is any indication, it's currently a mess. Here's our Spencer Soisher.
Hi there.
Some places in Denver could use a little love. But is the Montbello Rec Center really one of them?
No.
District 11 City Council member Stacy Gilmore represents parts of Montbello, Gateway, and Green Valley Ranch, areas with a higher percentage of minority residents.
No. No idea.
She can't figure out why improvements for the rec center in her district were included in the projects in the city's bond proposal.
No one has told me what those improvements might need to be.
The proposal absolutely bombed at the City Council Wednesday, as the presentation included no project cost estimates.
The mayor's office needs to hear us. Come on. This is ridiculous.
Gilmore was involved in subcommittees, which gave suggestions from constituents to the city's finance department and executive committee. The committee ultimately whittled down the project submissions from 1,100 to 48. 48 of them, but District 11 got just one project. Gilmore says that one project is one nobody wanted.
Why aren't we listening to the people? We asked them what projects they wanted, and then we don't see them on the list.
The city's finance department says the rec center was heavily requested on surveys. But in April, Gilmore made a list of things her community members did want. Traffic signal fixes, improvements to this building.
We had an American Indian cultural embassy.
Yes, it is disappointing.
Sid Whiting supports Native projects and says this would have been an economic driver for his community.
And it's really vital that we have something that helps with that commerce.
The committee had to make choices, and they're not final. The city says over $6 billion in projects were submitted, and the bond is budgeted for $800 to $900 million. But they need some love from the city council to get on the ballot.
I would not be doing my job as the elected representative for District 11 if I referred it to the ballot today.
The mayor's office says the mayor is reviewing the recommendations and plans to submit another package to the city council next week. In the meantime, they said he and his team are in the process of meeting with each of the council members to go over their highest priority items to try to get this list more fine-tuned. I asked Gilmore if she's heard from them yet, Kyle. She said no.
They think that this is kind of getting rammed through too fast.
Yeah, they do. The mayor's office disputes that too. They want to, their goal of this is to get this on the ballot by November, right? And the goal of it is in August. They say they held a bunch of meetings, taking in over 6,000 surveys. They don't want to delay this thing anymore either, though. A rep for the mayor said if the council waits to put this on the ballot until November of 2026, they think construction costs would increase, and then they wouldn't be able to do as much either way.
And quickly, the folks on council that you've heard from, do they seem to think that it's fixable?
It depends who you ask to.
Okay.
It depends who you ask.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Spencer Soisher, thank you. Federal prosecutors handling the case against the Boulder firebombing suspects say they are not sure if they're going to pursue a federal murder charge, and with it, the possibility of the death penalty. The suspect already faces dozens of state charges, including a murder charge. Prosecutors say he admitted to throwing Molotov cocktails into a peaceful group on Boulder's Pearl Street Mall in May. That anti-Semitic attack targeted a gathering raising awareness of Israeli hostages held in Gaza. One person was killed, 13 more were injured. The suspect currently faces the possibility of life in prison without parole if convicted. He won't face the death penalty without a federal murder charge, and today in court, federal prosecutors said they hadn't made up their mind on that. Judge tentatively set a trial for September, but said that's likely to change. May I make a recommendation? I want to point you towards somebody else's journalism that I think is worth your time. We have talked here about what I see as a hesitancy of many local media outlets in Colorado to cover political extremism. It comes with accusations of bias and threats of violence, which were explored really well in a recent Columbia Journalism Review article. How reporters manage the dangers of covering extremism examines how reporters have dealt with physical threats and harassment. As one said, quote, "There's more risk at the local level. You are accessible, you are visible, you are part of the community that you're covering, and you don't leave." That article also talks about the value of local reporters covering local extremism instead of ignoring it or leaving it to local to national news outlets to come into town and cover. You can find a link to that article on Next social media pages and on the Next section of 9news.com. A quick trip to court ends as a judge rules on that convenience store's challenge to Denver's rules on new gas stations.
Show up for your neighbors because we need you now more than ever.
Colfax takes pride in its independence, though nowadays it could use a little assistance. And this is your semi-annual reminder that the huge IKEA sign in Centennial is a danger to humanity. That's next. Colorado's tall landmarks just catch your eye, right? Mount Elbert, the Royal Gorge Bridge, the IKEA sign along I-25 in Centennial. That sign is 3 times the usual allowable height for a sign. It once shut down the interstate years ago for fear the whole thing was going to blow over in the wind. And on Monday, the wind did get the best of it, a bit of it. Our Marshall Zellinger's live near the sign, ready to do some fixing. Hey, Marshall.
Hi, Kyle. That sign, as you know, is not supposed to look like that, but what fell from the tower was not this big chunk of metal. We got some security video showing how light and airy it is. And just in case IKEA doesn't have the proper manual, we've gone ahead and created a step-by-step guide for how to repair the sign. From this security video across I-25 from IKEA, you can see the effects of the brief windstorm on Monday. The trees whipping around, the rain on the camera, the IKEA sign flying off. Wait, let's back that up. The IKEA sign flying off? One of the 3 panels is gone.
Got completely blown off by a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust.
That sign is not a heavy metal chunk, but a flexible PVC banner that from this camera angle floats over all the lanes of I-25 like a scarf blowing in the wind. The video was captured on these Comcast security cameras from across the highway. It's not the only sign that needs work in the area. We saw crews working on these signs just south of IKEA. It's also not the only time IKEA has had an issue with its sign.
That steel sign could have been a real danger if it came down on drivers below.
In 2016, I-25 was closed in both directions for 2 hours at the end of rush hour because of 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts that threatened to take the sign down. Also in 2016, 2 of the 3 signs were moved a few feet because they were too close to the light rail. Now, it's missing one of those 3 signs. We have the original blueprints for the sign, but they have too many words. That's not very IKEA-like. So we've created a step-by-step assembly guide for putting the sign back together with an AI-generated version of me to walk you through it IKEA style. Step 1, find the sign that floated across I-25. Step 2, get a crane. Step 3, unpack the screws, Allen wrench, wood dowels, and glue. Step 4, get frustrated at the Allen wrench. Step 5, break a dowel. Step 6, reattach the sign, put the extra parts that were not meant to be extra in a storage bag, and admire your work until the next wind event. Well, I found the blueprints for when the tower was installed in the first place, and it says in this highlighted area that it can withstand 90-mile-per-hour winds. That 2016 event, Kyle, as you reported on, that was 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts. What happened on Monday was 70 miles per hour. Let's hope the next set of dowels and glue holds a little bit better.
You know, Marshall, we can joke around about this because the sign just blew over the interstate and didn't say blow onto somebody's windshield, so the last thing that they see on God's earth is the word IKEA before they go head on into a semi-truck, right? Like, thankfully it went over the interstate, but again, like, there's been this little special space carved out for this very special sign that's different than all the others.
32 feet's the requirement in Centennial. It's 100 feet, and every time we've reported on the sign, it's been a near miss of sorts. Perhaps that's why there are height restrictions to begin with.
I get it that people love the store, but at some point, Marshall Zellinger, that was interesting. Thanks, sir. Judge in Denver has booted a lawsuit challenging the city's limits on gas station construction. It was Quick Trip that sued, said that they were unfairly targeted. Earlier this year, Denver City Council signed off on zoning rules prohibiting new gas stations being too close to other gas stations, to light rail stations, and to residential neighborhoods. The idea was save that space for housing. The rules were retroactive. They applied to some gas station projects already in the works. Quick Trip sued, said they'd already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on 4 planned locations. Last week, a district court judge said, you know what? Projects weren't guaranteed. They were still awaiting final approval from the city, and those rules changed. The businesses on Colfax will love to tell you they are independent, not a chain, but they are linking it up so they don't have to go it alone.
I don't think small businesses are thriving on Colfax right now.
They're asking for neighborhood support as business slows to a halt. That's next. The Colfax community is about to celebrate Indie Week for all the small local businesses that line that iconic avenue. And this year, it's also a reminder of the struggle they currently face as major construction tears up Colfax.
Small businesses thrive on Colfax.
You know, these are independent businesses. It's been long-standing like that for a lot of years.
Independently owned, no chains, no one's tied to us or in our pockets or anything else, so it's just the two of us.
Well, that's what makes Colfax special.
It's like a mecca for crazy, silly, unique, independent people and businesses that serve those people.
Construction projects are not making things easy on spaces like ours on East Colfax.
It looks like a construction zone, and you know, the hardest part about it is there's nowhere to park, absolutely nowhere to park.
BRT has made a big impact on our businesses. They have seen a decline in foot traffic. And of course, we want to do anything we can to bring folks to Colfax. Indie Week is a week-long celebration.
Indie Week is focusing on the independent and unique businesses that are on Colfax.
Indie Week, I think, is really special. I'm super excited about being a part of that, same as doing a couple events.
Each business throughout this whole little area right here is going to participate.
It's now a good opportunity to just remember the things that make Colfax special, and hopefully we can all together as a community preserve that.
Show up for your neighbors because we need you now more than ever.
Indie Week on Colfax runs July 14th to the 20th, and participating businesses will have special promotions running through the whole week. We are back with your feedback next. Thank you. The most Colorado thing we saw today could be a postcard. You got the hot air balloon with the Colorado flag on it. You got the biker on the trail in front. Great view of the Front Range behind. That is beautiful. It's the work of Peter Dean. Snapped this picture Sunday near Lafayette, just south of Highway 7 and Erie. You can't top that, but if you want to try and match it, email your most Colorado things to us, next@9news.com, or text next 303-871-1491. Brown on Blue Sky with feedback saying, I'm amazed at how many longtime Denver area residents have never visited Black Canyon and the Gunnison National Park. Brown says, I know it's a longer drive, but well worth it. I agree with Kyle. It's probably the most stunning natural beauty in our state. I'm telling you, if you've never been, you've got to go. There's just nothing like it. I would also say that Gunnison and Montrose are underrated places to visit. So whether you hit one or both, make it a road trip. You won't regret it. Feedback from Carol Ann about Marshall Zellinger's story about the IKEA sign blowing away. He says it's not only an eyesore, it's a menace. Evan says, haven't laughed that hard watching the news since ever. It's that Marshall, he'll get you. See you next time.